So hello guys, what's up? I hope you can see me and you can hear me as well. Good evening, I hope you are well, all of you. Yeah, let's wait a few minutes for the rest of the group. And then we will start. Hey, Betty. Okay, so it's 5:03. So hello once again to all of you. You can write down the name to the chat for the attendance. Thank you. So, as you already wrote it down to the chat, this lesson is your last one in this PPL block. So this is, as you can see on my screen, which I'm sharing with you. This is ground lesson 16, which is basically like lesson about the privileges of PPL. So more or less, you will be able to answer all these questions about the privileges of PPL because we spoke about it during the air law lesson. And then the second part of this online group theory will be about the cross country. Yeah, so I will try to introduce and give you some like basic and general information, what we are doing before the cross country lesson, how to plan, how to fly. And of course, because it's last lesson, so do not hesitate to ask any question. Write it down to the chat or unmute your mic, and I will try to answer it. Of course, after the lesson, I will be here, so I will be answering your questions as well. But do not hesitate to ask like the questions from the different subject as well. Yeah, this lesson is the last one, so you can do it basically. Yeah, it's nothing wrong on it. Like right now in Prague is beautiful for flying, because like during the weekend it was like some snowstorm, so we have like new 10 centimeters of snow. So runway in Letňany in Prague is covered by snow, so we are flying and we are taking off and landing on the snow, which is quite exciting and nice. And about the corona restrictions, like these restrictions are valid until 22nd of January, and we will see what will be after that. Yeah, most probably they will prolong it, but maybe we will see. Yeah, who knows? Yeah. So, as I said, the structure of this lesson. So in the beginning, we will speak about the privileges of PPL. So I will show you in which document we can find this information, but you should know it already from the ERLO lesson. Then you will answer questions and tasks from the worksheet. So please log in your LMS account and open the training syllabus and open the worksheet and tell me and inform me if the worksheets are working for you. If not, I will send you the link to the chat as usual. It's just few questions, few tasks for this lesson, I think around 5. So as I said in the previous lesson, you can't see the questions. I have to unlock them. I would need the link, please. Yeah, okay. But you can find the link in the LMS, yeah? But I will send you the link, guys. So this is the link, yeah? But please try to open it from the training syllabus, from the portal of training syllabus, and then you can see the link for the worksheet. So this is the structure. We will have 2 breaks, 2 10-15 minutes breaks. And at the end, I will send you the homework sheet, and that's it. It works. Great to hear from you. So it works. So we can start with our presentation. Okay. So privileges of PPL. So my question is, where you can find the information about the privileges of PPL? Can you just write it down to the chat? The regulation, yeah? The document. You can find it in the FlyFA website, in LMS. And the document is written by EASA, yeah? Because we are flying in Europe, so we have to follow the EASA regulations. And the document, the name of the document is Part FCL in EASA, Flight Crew Licensing Part FCL. So there you can find all these informations about the PPL, but not only about the PPL. You can find there information about the light aircraft pilot license, CPL license, about the language proficiency checks, about the ATPL theory, ATPL practical, about the flight instructor course, about the IR rating, about the multi-engine as well, and for example about the night rating, and so on, and another mountain rating, and so on and so on. So this is the section FCL.205.APPL-A for airplanes and privileges. So this is the link, but I will not use the link, and I will show you where you can find it. So from the LMS, it should be here, yeah. Documents, others, regulations, and EASA. But if you want to open it from FlyFA, you can open the flyfa.com, and here you have the regulations. So you will choose the EASA, part. And here you can see the books, so the regulations. So here, this is the basic regulation. This is the part FCL, so the document which we want. Air ops, so operations, about the aerodromes. So if we want to find something about the aerodrome, some more detailed information, or if we are not sure about some sign on the aerodrome. Weather operations, aircraft noise, airworthiness regulations, and the SERA. So basically, another very important document for us for the rules of the air. And here is the air traffic management. So we will open in the part FCL. So here you can see the document of part FCL, part ARA, and here in down you can see the medical requirements. So this part of the document is for the medical certificate. So medical class 1, medical class 2, the validity and the revalidations and information about the medical certificates. So let's open the part FCL. So now we can see the document. Let's scroll to the content. Content is here. So we are looking for what? We are looking for PPL. So here, general requirements, because every aviation related document is starting with the definition, from the definitions, then some terms. So you can see here language proficiency, recent experience, then we have the light aircraft pilot license, but you are studying for the PPL, so we don't have to check the light aircraft pilot license. And here is the private pilot license. So common requirements, minimum age, we already spoke about it in the air law lesson. So it's basically just a revision of your knowledge. Then conditions, training course for the airplanes, for the helicopters as well. Then theoretical knowledge, examinations, training course, skill tests, and here, this is the section 2, specific requirements for the PPL airplanes. So let's click on it. And here you can see, so point A and point B. So what are the privileges of PPL license holders? The privileges of the holders of private pilot license for the airplanes are to act without the remuneration as a pilot in command or co-pilots of airplanes or TMGs engaged in non-commercial operations, and to exercise all privileges of holders for what? For light aircraft pilot license for airplanes. Notwithstanding the paragraph above, the holder of private pilot license with instructor or examiner privileges may receive remuneration for what? For the provision of flight instruction for the light aircraft pilot license or private pilot license, then the conduct of skill tests and proficiency checks for these licenses, and the training, testing, and checking for the ratings or certificates attached to this license. So basically, you can't receive the money when you are holder for the private pilot license, but if you have private pilot license and flight instructor rating attached to the private pilot license, you can receive some remuneration for this job as a flight instructor with the PPL lesson, with the PPL license. So basically, you can teach light aircraft pilot license students and PPL private pilot license student as well, or you can conduct the skill test or proficiency checks for these students for the LAPL, light aircraft pilot license, and private pilot license as well. Yeah, so these are the privileges of the PPL. So basically, when you will receive the private pilot license, you want to take your friend, girlfriend, boyfriend, mom, dad, or family with you. They basically can't give you the money, yeah, because you can't take the money for the remuneration because you are holder only of PPL license. Everything starts after you will receive and after you will successfully finish the commercial pilot license, which is the abbreviation is the CPL for the airplanes. So is it clear? Thank you. Yeah, so basically I just copy what is written in the regulation. So I took the information from the regulation. So same privileges PPL are to act without remuneration as pilots or co-pilots of airplanes or TMGs. Yeah, so now please open the worksheet. And now it's time for first two tasks. So I will open for you the first task, which is in which regulation we can find information about the PPL privileges. So just let me know. You should see the first. Yeah, please answer it in your worksheet. Yeah. But thank you for letting me know that you know the answer. Thank you, Ali. Okay, so I will wait just 1 or 2 minutes, then let me know that you finish it. You answer it successfully. Done. Thank you, Daniela. So Maxim, try to open it from the training syllabus, the worksheets, or use the link which I sent to the chat to Florian. Yeah. So, yeah. So for those of you for his works, try to answer it. For those who is not working, I will answer it. Let's answer it together. Yeah. So I hope you already answered, and as Maxim and Ali wrote it down, the correct answer is part of CL. Yeah. Then we have the second task. So now I will open the second task. So you should see the second task, and which is the drag and drop. So the privileges of the holders of something are to act without remuneration as a pilot in command or co-pilots of airplanes or TMGs engaged in non-commercial operations and to exercise all privileges of holders of something. Okay, well, thanks, Brendan. So I will wait for 1 minute. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Brendan. Thank you, Maxim. Thank you, well. It's correct answer. So first, private pilot license, and then the light aircraft pilot license. Yeah. So it's done. Yeah. Thank you, Florian, for your answers. Yeah. So from that part, from the regulations about the PPL, let's move to the more practical part. I hope it will be more exciting for you, and it's flying cross-country. I know it's like, for me and for everyone, it's difficult to learn it like online. Yeah, the cross-country lesson, I will try to give you as much information as I can, like the useful information. And if something will be not sure, we will finish it. I will try to answer your questions firstly, and secondly, the more practical way, when you will come to the Prague or Brno or Vienna or US, and you can discuss with the instructor face to face, yeah, the cross country. Because first, you are starting with your practical training. You are starting to fly with instructor. You are flying the first lesson, the second lesson. So basically, I can show you the syllabus of the PPL, yeah, which is the documents and the manuals. I can close this windows. Yeah, so we are looking for the syllabus for the PPL. Yeah, it's loading. So PPL, single engine piston. Content. So first we have, again, abbreviations. You can see here the attitude, plus minus 150 feet, tracking, plus minus 10 degrees, heading, plus minus 10 degrees, speed, takeoff approach, plus 15 minus 5, all other flight regimes, plus minus 15 knots. So let's scroll down for the flight training, because first you have the description of the ground training. So training syllabus is here. So ground training, stage 1. So basically, there's the syllabus as you already go through all of these ground lessons. So ground lesson 1, you had it. Ground lesson 2 as well, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then let's check the yeah, of course, I can send you the link, or you can find it in the LMS as well, yeah? But I will send you the link, of course. But everything is accessible from the LMS. Yeah, so here you can see the flight training, because the cross country is more difficult than the basic flying, yeah? Because you are flying from point A to point B, and then usually then flying back to the departure airport. So the flight training is divided into the stages. So here, first is the logically flight training stage 1, which is the first one is the introduction flight. So introduction flight, 1 hour, 1 approach, yeah? Then flight lesson 2 is for the familiarization with the airplane. So local yield should be 1.5 hours, briefing 0.5, 1 approach. This is for you, this is the studying, yeah? Self-studying, so 1 hour. Recommended reading materials, so airplane flying handbook chapter, again, accessible, and you can find in the LMS. Lesson objectives, review the procedures and the maneuvers introduced in flight lesson 1 and improve them. Introduce the student to the rectangular curves. So lesson sub-activities, review the previously introduced maneuvers and the activities, rectangular curves, risk management, and lesson completion standards. So the student shows increased proficiency in previously introduced activities and maneuvers and learns to control the airplane at a different speed, attitudes, and configurations. So then, and we are like proceeding to the more and more complicated part of the training. So then flight lesson 3, we are practicing the basic maneuvers. So steep turns, S-turns, slow flight, lesson sub-activities, then flight lesson 4, stalls, flight lesson 5, emergencies, 6, touch and go around, so basically practicing the landings. Then the 7, review on emergencies and improved landings. Lesson number 8, review at a different airport. So basically review the practicing the landings at different airport. So basically, you practice the in-flight lesson 6 in Letňany, so you have to practice somewhere else. Then number 8, yeah, the different. Number 9, it's stage 1, check and releasing for the first solo. So basically, you will fly with instructor, and he or she will decide if you are ready for the first solo or no. If you are not ready, it's not a big deal. Usually, we are proceeding to the next flight lessons. Yeah. First solo, if you are released for the solo, first solo is 2 touch and goes, 1 full stop landing. Then flight training stage 2, which is Flight lesson 10 is performance, takeoffs, and landings. Then flight lesson 11 is second. Flight lesson 12 is local area, so the third solo. Flight lesson 1-3, it's practicing the VOR and the GPS. So basically flight lesson 13 and flight lesson 14 is like instrument lessons, yeah, in the PPL, how to use the VOR, for example, if you are lost. And then after the flight lesson 14, so you can see that the flight lesson 15, so 15th lesson, the cross-country flying is starting. So you have to fly like 15 lessons, 14 lessons, and then you will start the practicing the cross-country lessons. So you can see it's basically in the third or in the second half of your practical training. So usually cross-country, 2 hours practicing landing, so approaches, what are the objectives and lesson sub-activities. Then flight lesson 16, cross-country review, and again, then flight lesson 17, which is the state check, so nav check, and then you are released for the cross-country solo flights. Yeah, but doesn't mean that you can see here only three flights of cross-country. Yeah, if you are ready, 3 flights of cross-country should be enough, but usually students need more cross-country lesson, which on that is nothing wrong and nothing bad. 5, 6 depends on the student. Yeah, so these are the cross-country lessons. So you can see that the cross-country lesson starts from the second half of your practical training. So let's back to our presentation. So lesson objectives of flying cross-country. So we will speak about how to develop and understand the planning process for a cross-country flight. This information includes, of course, what is important first, the route. So usually we will depart from Lithuania, or of course, depends when you will do the your practical training, if in Brno or in Vienna, or in Lithuania, that will be your departure airport. So from the departure airport, you have to choose some destination or some airport from point A to point B, and then usually fly back to point A. So the route. Then we have to choose the alternates. So usually when we are flying from point A to point B, we have to choose the alternates on the route. And for example, in case of some bad weather, we have to choose the alternate for the destination airport as well. So for example, for the point B airport. And then what is important as well during the cross-country lessons is the decision making. Yes, so you have to decide. Usually when you are flying with instructor, in the beginning the instructor will do that. Then when you are proceeding to your more advanced stage of your training, you will do this decision making. So the instructor will ask you, so cold front is coming from the west to the east, we want to fly to the west. So what will be your decision? Will you fly to the direction, yes or no? This kind of information. Then the informations about during the flight, so emergency, simulating engine failure during the flight, simulating engine failure after the takeoff, in the downwind position. So decision making, so practicing. Yeah, so put some pressure to you. Then abnormal procedures. So what does it mean? So you have to be familiar with the SOPs and with the checklist of the aircraft which you are flying. So usually Cessna 152, 172, or 172 glass cockpit, which we have here, which we have in all bases of Flying Academy. Then, and of course, emergency procedures. So again, it's basically the same. So to be familiar with the checklists, especially for the emergency procedures, to be familiar with the emergency procedures checklist, POH, and the SOP as well. Don't worry if you are stressed, if you are not sure that if you can make it, you can make it, because you will practice a lot with the instructors all the emergency procedures. Engine failure, simulated engine failure, of course. rejected takeoff, engine fire, electrical fire. So these kind of procedures, we can also practice some GPS failure, VOR failure, artificial horizon malfunction, and so on and so on. What to do, for example, in case of communication failure. Of course, I mean the simulated communication failure, and so on and so on. So the flying process. So as I said, the flying process starting from the developing the route, so the choosing the route. In the beginning, instructor will give you the route. So you will calculate the route, you will fill the navlog and these informations. But of course, if you will do the time building, so you will fly alone. You will have the private pilot license, so you will be the pilot in command. So you will create the route. You will develop the route. Don't be nervous. It's not bad. Maybe it's not so bad. Don't worry. Of course, another thing, the pre-flight weather briefing, which is very important. So the METAR, TAFs, synoptic chart, GAMET, GAMET, OPMET, web cameras, precipitation radar. And then completing the navlog. Yeah? So completing the navlog with the departure airport, destination airport, and the points which you choose for the flight, for this particular flight. Then fuel requirements and the considerations. So you have to consider the time, the performance of the aircraft, you have to consider the weather. Yeah, a lot of things which you have to consider. Then the flight plan. So like you can fill the flight plan, for example, when you are flying to another country or during the night, but usually we are not filling the flight plan when we are flying inside the Czech Republic because it's not mandatory, so we are not filling. We are usually contacting the flight information service, which is in Czech Republic, it's Praha information on 3 different frequencies, depends in which region you are flying in Czech Republic. And this flight information service, the Praha information, give us the information about the traffic and information about the active airspaces. But the information about the active airspaces we should know before, because we should check the airspaces in pre-flight briefing. And the last thing is the pre-flight inspection. So you are going to the airport and you are checking your aircraft on which you are scheduled. So you are checking that everything is all right, no leakage, no malfunction, no damages. If you can see something, if you are not on 100% sure, you can try to take another aircraft, another free aircraft which is not scheduled, or ask instructor if is it possible to fly with this, or you can cancel the flight in case of some mandatory or serious failure. So developing the route. So we will start with the developing the route. Before the start of planning the route, the pilot must check what? Do you have any ideas? What do you have to check? Of course, like during the PPL, before you will receive the PPL, everything what I'm telling you right now, the instructor, she or he, will help you. So don't worry, you don't have to be nervous, yeah, about that. But it's important to know, like, to be prepared after you will receive the 5 PPL. Yeah, oil and fuel as well, like, yeah. But next, it's fine, Maxim. Weather, yeah, Daniela. Exactly, weather. Something else except the weather? Do you have any ideas? I already mentioned it. So, for example, the airspaces, yeah. Exactly, Daniela, restricted zone. So airspaces, traffic. We can't check the traffic, yeah, because we are flying VFR, general aviation. So we are not. No, we are not checking the traffic. Yep. So make I'm safe checklist. About the I'm safe checklist, I will speak later, but maybe the NG, the instructor which you had on Monday human performance lesson, maybe she spoke about it, but I will mention it in the second half of our lesson. Then, as you correctly wrote it down, meteorological information, the alpha omega, yeah, of the flying, of the general aviation flying. Information about the airspaces. So as Daniela wrote it down, for example, some restricted areas or some temporary reserved areas, temporary segregated area or prohibited area, danger area. We have to check everything. Of course, depends on the route. And then the NOTAMs. Yeah, so the NOTAMs for the departure airport and NOTAMs for the destination airport. And of course, if you have the option, let's check the NOTAMs for the alternate airport as well. What happened to me once during my instrument rating training? You will see that it happens to everyone. Yeah, I forgot to check the NOTAM. Yeah, I flew in Brno airport, the IR, and as I said, I forgot to check the NOTAM. So we came with our instructor to the airport. We sit to the aircraft. We start the engine. And then the instructor told me that it's weird that no one is at the airport. And then in the aircraft, after starting up the engine, we check the NOTAMs. And in the NOTAM, it was written that the airport is under maintenance and airport is closed for all traffic. See, so the big mistakes from my side as a student, yeah, because I forgot to check the NOTAM. Yeah, so as you can see, it happens. Yeah, so that's the reason I would like to point it out, the NOTAMs. And because, for example, what can happen? You are flying from the Letňany and you are flying, I would say, to some destination, to Karlovy Vary, yeah, which is airport on the west, controlled airport. And you didn't check the NOTAM, yeah. So you are flying there and you will land there, or you can land in some uncontrolled airport. Yeah, you can choose the example of uncontrolled airport. So you can land there. And no one is at the airport, which is like normal, and uncontrolled airport in Czech Republic. You land there, then you are flying back to from your departure airport to Letňany, and then you will receive some report that you land in some airport, which is in that moment, in that period, was prohibited to land because some NOTAM. Yeah, so it's important to check the NOTAMs, but not only for the airport, but in the NOTAMs it can be written that, for example, one of the 2 runways is closed. Yeah, so you can use the correct one, or some taxiway is closed, or some navigational equipment is closed. Yeah, or or ATC is closed, or somehow restricted, yeah, or limited. So that's the reason. And then that's the reason, for example, as instructors, when we are releasing the students for the solo, and what I'm recommending you to do it after you will receive the PPL, to always, yeah, it's truth is that it's not mandatory, but it's very good. So call the destination. Usually we are doing only to the destination. We are not going to alternate, but call the destination. Okay, so find the phone number of the destination airport. So where to find, you can tell me in the Czech Republic. I will show you. You can do not have to tell me. So FlyFA, pre-flight preparation, EASA, scroll down, and this VFR menu. Yeah, so English, current one, and let's use, for example, let's use the example of, I would say, Hradec Králové. It doesn't matter, some example. So you are flying from Letňany to Hradec Králové. You want to fly. Nothing is written in the NOTAM, but still you are not sure. You want to be on 1000% sure. So here you can see the contacts. So providing information to known traffic. So it's nothing wrong to use this number and call him. Okay, hello, my name is Thomas. I'm from Flying Academy. I would like to fly to your airport. Is it possible? And he will tell you, yeah, why not? Come, yeah, it's no problem. Airport is open. We are flying until end of the operational hours, which is from Monday to Friday, max 6 o'clock. Saturday, Sunday, 6 as well, yeah? So try to think like that. Try to think in advance, yeah? So I'm safe checklist, meteorological informations about the airspace, NOTAMs, call destinations, and the route must be adjusted according to suitable conditions, include the personal limitations and the general flight rules. So the VFR or IFR rules and the regulations. So PPL is VFR, so it has to be developed according to VFR rules. So is it clear everything from this slide? Thank you, Maxim. Thank you, Daniela. So let's move to the next slide. And let's choose some example in the Czech Republic, because most probably when you will come to the Czech Republic, you will fly here in the Czech Republic. So let's develop some route. So from Letňany to Karlovy Vary, for example. Yeah, so we will use as an example Letňany Karlovy Vary. Then in the second half of this cross-country lesson, I will show you the example from Letňany base of Flying Academy to Bad Voslau in Vienna base, yeah, cross-country. So as someone of you wrote it down, you have to check the METARs and TAFs. Then the significant weather chart, especially in the winter, during the icing conditions, and today even the turbulence conditions. Yeah, we have very strong wind in Czech Republic today. Then the gamut. So gamut is useful for the temperatures at 2,000, 5,000 feet, for the significant clouds, for the freezing level as well, and for, of course, for the wind direction and the wind velocity at altitude and in parts of the Czech Republic. Then synoptic chart. It's usually like 1 day, 2 days before the flight. Precipitation radar, the correct one, and the weather warnings such as the SIGMET and aerodrome warning. So I skipped. So right now, let's do it together. So again, we can use the FlyFA briefing, and let's use the METAR, check the weather. So we can check everything, and we will use the example Praha Karlovy Vary. So first, let's open the METAR TAF. So I'll change it to the English version. So Letňany is here. Karlovy Vary is on the west of the Czech Republic. So for the checking, like for the METARs, in Letňany, we are using the Gbely airport, which is the military-controlled airport. And we have this forecast, yeah? Disregarding the time that it's already dark here, so disregard it. And we have the METAR Lima Kilo Kilo Bravo 13. So the date, as we did it in the decoding of Meteo, yeah, 1630 Zulu, so UTC, 1730 local. The wind is coming from 240 degrees, 16 knots, so like quite strong wind. Visibility is 10 kilometers or more, broken at 4,000 feet, overcast 4,900 feet. Temperature 2, dew point -3. QNH is 1008, and no SIG, which is no significant change. In the TAF, what do we have? We have the TAF, which was issued at 11 Zulu, 12 local. Yeah, as you can see here, it's valid for 24 hours. Wind approximately 240 degrees, 50 knots. Visibility 10 kilometers, broken at 4,000 feet. Then temporary. Temporary between this time, so we can expect some gusting in 28 knots, and another tempo between this time. So visibility will be could be reduced in this time to 5 kilometers. We can expect the snow and broken will be at 2,000 feet. Then we have the tempo of probability 40% between this time, so 22, so 10 p.m. to 9 a.m. So visibility will be even reduced for 2,000 meters, 2 kilometers, then snow, and you can see the base of the clouds broken 1,000 feet, then overcast 2,200 feet. And then becoming wind is changed, the direction of the wind will change most probably to from 310 degrees, 12 knots. So we want to depart right now. So for right now, it's more or less good, but you have to be careful for the wind, yeah, which will be calculated in our navlog. Then we are flying to Karlovy Vary, so let's check our destination airport. So Metar, TAF, and we have the warning, yeah, here. So Karlovy Vary issued and 131630 Zulu. You can see that the direction of the wind is more or less the same as in Lekeny, because the direction in the western part of Czech Republic is the same for today. 2 knots. Visibility 10 kilometers. Light snow. Light indicates the minus. Moderate, normal snow is without minus or plus, and plus indicates the heavy snow. Then we have the scattered at 1,000 feet, broken 1,400 feet, and temperature -2, dew point -3, QNH 1008, and you can see the runway state information. So for runway 029, and we have this information because it's not measured. Then we have the TAF. So basically we will do the same for the TAF. We have to take into account especially the times when we are planning to go there or when we will be there. So if we are departing at, like right now, at let's say 6 o'clock, so we have to take into account this stuff, this stuff, and these, no, yeah, these last two we don't have to take into account. So visibility 8 kilometers, broken 2,000 feet. Then here between this time, temporary 3,500 meters visibility, light snow broken at 900 feet, temporary, another between this time, gusting 30 knots. And then we have to take into account, of course, the warning. So aerodrome warning 3 valid between this time. So you can see date, day, and the time. Yeah, 15:47, so almost 5 o'clock local until 8 p.m. local, and snow less than 1 centimeters. After that, after you check the weather from at the departure and the destination, we will check the gamut. So what we have, we know that from Letňany to Karlovy Vary, we will stay within the west part of the flight information region of the Czech Republic, which is Lima Kilo Alpha Alpha. So we will fly at 5,000, or like we will fly at 2,000 feet due to clouds, yeah, for example. So we will take these values for our calculation of the navlog. So 270 degrees, 34 knots. So you can see that for general aviation aircraft, for the small Cessna 152, it's quite strong wind. And the temperature at 2,000 feet is -0 degrees. Then 5,000, 40 knots, -7, 10,000, -18, and 38 knots. Then we have the surface visibility. You can see locally significant weather. So visibility from 3 kilometers to 5, isolated about 1,000 meters. Sorry. Then icing locally, turbulence locally moderates from the surface to 7,000. And here you can see the clouds, type of the clouds, and the vertical limitation. So from where to which altitude. Freezing level from the surface, and minimum QNH in the Czech Republic for today is 1,000 hectopascals. This was the gamut. Then we can check the synop table. So basically, this is the Czech Republic, the meteorological station. So you can see here the Karlovy Vary in the city, 260 degrees, 14 knots, visibility 2,500 meters, very low, significant weather. We have the snow, number, coverage of the clouds only. So in octas, if you remember from the decoding, so it's overcast. Then at 1,300 feet, we have what? We have the scattered, broken at 2,300 feet, and overcast at 6,000 feet, sorry. Then we have the temperature -2, and the dew point -4. We can use the examples of Praha, so because Lekeny is in Prague. So Praha, Ruzyně, Karlov, you can see these examples, and then on the way you can find some of these meteorological stations. So go back. Then we can use the op-met. So in the op-met, you can see all the tufts and all the metars which are on this map. Yeah, I prefer to click on the examples one by one than the op-met, but if you prefer this way, doesn't matter. So you can open it. You can see all the warnings and all the metars and spets and the tufts as well. From the metar, and then you can check the warning, which is here. Lima Kilo, Kilo Victor, so Karlovy Vary, Mike Tango, Ostrava, Tango Bravo is Brno. So Tango Bravo is here and Mike Tango is here. From the metar, let's go to the precipitation, for example. So here you can see, as we already checked from the gamut and from the metar, that wind is coming from the west approximately, which is confirming the clouds. Clouds are confirming this information because you can see that the clouds are moving from the west to the east. And here, the patches of the clouds, you can see the precipitation, yeah, the showers, snow showers. So you have to be careful. Always consider the precipitation radar. Then we can check the web cameras, usually during the day. Yeah, now it's dark, so usually what is good to click on this map, and you will see the map of the Czech Republic. And here you can click on the map, which is like better option than to find for the correct example of the map. Yeah, then close it. Then we have here the gamut, significant weather chart. So the ground, from the ground to flight level 100. So you can see we have to check the delta sector. Delta sector is here, no significant weather. You can see the type of the clouds, the altitude, locally shower snow, snow, shower, icing, thunderstorm, rain, snow, shower snow. So basically what we already checked in the metar and in the TAF as well. So, and the synoptic chart, of course, is better to check like 1 day before or 2 days before, because it's the forecast. So this is for tomorrow, this is for day after and day after. So Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You can see Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Yeah, of course, you can check the icing. This is icing from flight level 75 to 1000, and you can see here, yeah. But we already checked in the gamut that the freezing level is from 1000 from the surface, yeah. So because Cessna 152 doesn't have any anti-icing or de-icing on the aircraft, so we have to be very careful for the precipitation like a snow, drizzle, freezing rain, and the freezing level. So this was the METAR, yeah. This was the checking the weather. So if we assume that is the day and we can fly the VFR, what do you think? Can we fly as a VFR in this weather? What do you think? No, thanks, Maxim. Yeah, I think it's a good decision, of course. But yeah, and we have to be, yeah, and plus we know what are our minimas, and for the VFR we can find in the IPE, we can find in the SERA, yeah. So we have to be familiar, and of course we can find in the operational manual of your school, so Flying Academy, what are our minimas for the students' flights or for the flights in general with the flight instructor. Yeah, so this was the weather. METAR, significant gamut, synop, precipitation, there are segment, aerodrome warnings. Now, let's take 10-15 minutes break and we will continue with our lesson about the cross country. Yeah, so prepare your questions and then we will continue with our last ground lesson. So 10-15 minutes.
Hey guys, my name is Chris, and I'm an instructor here at Flying Academy's Miami base. I want to talk to you about the different fleet types that are available to you for your training. First, we'll start off with our Cessna 152 aircraft with 110 horsepower, which is normally used for your private, instrument, and commercial training. The Cessna 152 is our most economical aircraft, and that we use for time building primarily. Then we'll move up to our Cessna 172 aircraft. Our Cessna 172 is a little bit bigger than the 152 with 180 horsepower and a four-seater aircraft. Our Cessna 172s are our most popular aircraft for training. We use it for private, instrument, commercial, and even the advanced ratings, CFI, CFII ratings. Piper Warrior aircraft is 180 horsepower, similar to our Cessna 172s. Also four-seater. You get the variety that comes with the differences between Cessna and Piper design models. Cessnas have the throttles, which will push the fuel here, versus the Pipers, which have the overhand throttle. The Pipers also have low wing, so you get to experience the differences in flying a high wing versus a low wing aircraft. Next, we'll talk about our Cessna 172 G1000. Our G1000 has an updated Garmin avionics where you have a PFD and an MFD screen. A lot of the airlines will ask nowadays how much blast time you have, and you can get that at Flight Academy here in our G1000 aircraft. Lastly, we'll talk about our advanced aircraft. We have several aircraft that you can use for your complex training. We have a Cessna 172 RG, a Piper Seminole, and a Piper Seneca. Cessna 172 RG is our upgraded version of the normal 172. With the 172 RG, it's more for our advanced students. We use it for your complex endorsement. The 172 RG, the RG standing for retractable gear, means that you can bring the gear up and bring the gear down. We also have a constant speed propeller, which allows you to change the blade angle of the propeller. These type of aircraft are what are needed for your complex endorsement for the commercial pilot students. Our Piper Seminole is a turbo PA-44. That's our multi-engine aircraft, one of our two multi-engine aircraft that we use for training. Our Piper Seminole is 180 horsepower per engine. That gives you the speed and efficiency you need to cover long distances in a short amount of time. Our Piper Seminole is also used for complex training, having the retractable gear and the constant speed propellers. It is an option to our students to use for their multi-engine training. Here at Flight Academy, you can go straight to your commercial multi or the commercial multi-engine. Seneca is your other option when looking for multi-engine training here at Flight Academy Miami. Our Seneca is a high-performance, complex aircraft that also adheres to the Indian regulations for what's needed for their multi-engine license. At Flight Academy, all of our instructors are trained to fly every aircraft. So students do not have to worry about finding a specific instructor for a specific type of aircraft. The student has the freedom to choose whichever aircraft they want, and our instructors will adapt to your schedule and the training needs that you have in your specific aircraft. Our instructors are CFI, CFII, and MEI rated instructor pilots.
Hello guys, welcome back with us to a new edition of How to for Pilots. Today we are sitting in a flight simulator. Today we're going to be talking about straight and level flight. This is a configuration in which the heading and altitude are continuously and constantly maintained in one specific configuration. This is one of the most important, if not the most important maneuver in your flight training because it is one of the basic foundation maneuvers that we're going to do. Just like when you're driving, the first skill is to learn to drive the car between two lines at a specific speed. We're going to be first explaining for VFR pilots. So during the day with visual cues. Now, to achieve this, we need to perform using a combination of visual cues, meaning referencing to outside, and the instruments, but mostly emphasizing on outside cues. Now, the common mistake that takes place is that people either look outside for a long time or fixate inside. And the main problem would be that as a pilot during your sitting, you have the tendency to look on your side, on the left side, and unconsciously rolling the aircraft onto that side, which is usually the left side in the direction of flight. You have to remember that the aircraft in straight and level flight has the four forces in equilibrium. Lift equals the weight and the thrust equals the drag. Now, let's go to the simulator and see how it will look like in real time. So now guys, we are here on the flight simulator and we have the instrument panel in front of us with what we need. First is that I'm at 5,000 feet. I'm straight and level, meaning I am straight, I don't have any bank angle, and I'm not climbing or descending. This aircraft is coordinated. What I need to focus on is looking outside, seeing the relation of the horizon, the natural horizon to my aircraft, and I need to keep the instruments in check. To do that, we will utilize a technique called the T method of scanning. The T method looks like this. The T method, that would be in the center, would be the altitude indicator, the airspeed indicator, back to altitude indicator, altimeter, back to altitude indicator, and the heading indicator. What I want to make sure is that I'm staying straight and level. I'm not gaining or losing altitude, not changing my head. Now, to achieve that, I need to emphasize the importance of that indicator because it gives us the indications on the pitch angle and the roll actions. I need to make sure that these two triangles stay in the center and the aircraft stays in the artificial horizon. I need to also check my speed, that's not increasing or increasing, it is set for the cruise. And I go back checking that the pitch and bank are zero, going to the altimeter and checking that the altitude is where it should be, going back to the indicator and checking that I'm staying on my heading. As I am flying now, you can see that unintentionally I am turning to the left because I am constantly looking on my side and I will see the first indications here. And I will make a very light correction, keeping the ball in the middle, and now my aircraft is climbing. So I will, with 3 fingers, smoothly bring the aircraft back to its attitude that I wanted. Now I want to avoid turning right. I will keep the aircraft in the center, and I'm mostly focusing on outside cues, keeping the aircraft at a specific height above the horizon or on the horizon, depending on what I want to do. I want to fly straight and level. So I have smooth control over the surfaces, and now my aircraft is straight and level. My active indicator shows no pitch and no turn. Speed is 140 back, and the altimeter shows that I have climbed around 100 feet. So I go back to altitude indicator, shows them turn to the left, I correct it smoothly, come back down, I'm still maintaining my heading, go up, and now I see that the altitude is coming back. That is the purpose. So we do not have to focus much, but we have to have snapshots and know what to look for. For the straight and level time, again, we use the T method of scanning. We go from the altitude indicator to the airspeed, altitude indicator, altimeter, altitude indicator, and back to the heading indicator. So now I will try to keep the aircraft straight and level. Seeing that I have small deviations, I make only the small corrections. Thank you guys for joining us today.
So hello once again. I hope you are here. And I hope you are listening. And I hope it's not boring for you. So let's continue with our cross-country lesson. And we will proceed to another item, another step, what we are doing. So which is the altitude and the navigational lock, nav lock. So don't forget that we are always flying at least 1,000 feet above the highest obstacle. Yeah, where you can find this information, you can find this information in the SERA, Standardized European Rules of the Air, or you can find this information in the operational manual of Flying Academy as well. Then try to always fly high unless the weather or that the aircraft performance doesn't permit. Yeah, so always fly high. Check the POH of your aircraft which you are flying, so Cessna 152 or Cessna 172, and check the performance section. If you remember, as we did it during the performance class. So performance section and try to fly as high as it possible. Yeah. Study procedure to approach a non-controlled airport. Do you know the procedures of to approach a non-controlled airport, which is called the overhead procedure? I'm not sure. Maybe we already spoke about it in the previous lesson, or you can spoke about it. You heard about it from another instructor. So, do you know the study procedures to approach a non-controlled airport, which is called the overhead procedure? So, do you know? Okay, so I will explain you the overhead procedure here. So let's open the whiteboard. Thank you, Daniela. So we will take the example of Mladá Boleslav Airport. Yeah? So I will show. So VFR manual, Mladá Boleslav is the airport almost the next to the 20 minutes from the Letňany. So VFR manual, Mladá Boleslav Airport. Yes. So the chart. So this is the aerodrome zone, non-controlled airport of Mladá Boleslav. These are the runways, yeah, 1634 and 0523. Here you can see the circuit elevation is 1,750 feet. Yeah, so basically here are the fuel tank, windsock, and aerodrome signs are here. So what we will do, 1,750, or we can use the 1,000 and 1,800. So we are approaching the aerodrome ATZ, aerodrome zone of the uncontrolled airport. So the aerodrome zone is this one. Yeah, we have the runway, this cross runway 0523, and it was runway 16 and 34. Yeah, so 16 and 34. We are approaching from the northwest, maintaining 3,000 feet. So we are contacting this Mladá Boleslav Airport on their frequency, which is 123.610. So Boleslav radio. We have Oscar Kilo Alpha Bravo Charlie. Hello, No reply. No one is on the tower, so we have to do the overhead procedure. We know that the circuit altitude is 1,750 feet. And we have these runways, 160523. Windsock is somewhere here, and the aerodrome signs as well. Yeah. So as we are approaching the ATZ, we have to keep overhead procedure is circuit altitude, which is 1,750 feet plus 500. So it's basically 2,250 feet. So we will maintain this altitude and we will fly, that's the name, overhead procedure, overhead the airport at this altitude. So 2,200 feet. So we will check. So we will make left turn because as a student you are sitting on the left, so you should see the aerodrome signs. So you are making at 2,250 feet, you are making the left turn. You are checking the aerodrome signs, you are checking the windsock, from which direction the wind is coming. And if you are not enough, you can do another orbit overhead the aerodrome signs. After you are sure that wind is coming, let's take today's numbers. So from 240 degrees, 12 knots. So from that position, you will proceed to the particle downwind for the runway, which is used according to windsock and according to aerodrome signs. So if the runway is 23 in use, according to wind information, you will, from the overhead, you will descend to the downwind. You will proceed, you will fly to the downwind, and in the meantime, you will proceed and you will descend to circuit altitude, which is 1,750 feet. And if you will check the left traffic pattern for the runway 23, so 23 is this runway, it is this circuit, yeah, left one. So we will proceed to this position, 1,750 feet. We will do the all necessary checklist and procedures which we are doing in the downwind checklist. So we will slow down the aircraft and prepare the aircraft for the landing. Proceed to the downwind, all necessary aircraft. Somewhere here is the city. So as we checked on in the VFR manual, because we already, for example, printed this aerodrome diagram, and we have it within during the flight, or we can have the iPad, and in the iPad we can have this app of VFR manual, and we can check it from the iPad, and we will proceed to the landing. So basically, to summarize this overhead procedure, overhead is circuit altitude plus 500 feet, then proceed to overhead the airport, check the signs, aerodrome signs, wind, and proceed from that position, descend to downwind, and proceed to land. Yeah, so this is the overhead procedure in the uncontrolled airport. So then let's go back to our presentation. So as I said, fly at least 1,000 feet above the highest obstacle. Try to fly always and study the procedures to approach a non-controlled airport, as I already explained you. So overhead plus 500 and then descend to proceed to downwind and descend. Another thing, so follow these steps in flight planning. Yeah, so figure out the intended route. We already figured it out. Ensure in suitable conditions for flight according to briefing. So, yeah, of course. Cool. Then, so figure it out the intended route. So we use the example of Lekeni to Karlovy Vary. Ensure in suitable conditions for the flight according to briefing. Draw the route on ICAO map. So you will receive the ICAO map when you will come to the Czech Republic of ICAO map of the Czech Republic. Measure the magnetic tracks and the distances in the navlog. Fill the navigation log. Calculate the fuel requirements. And calculate the performance requirements and the weight and watts as well, which is mandatory. So let's start to completing the navigational log. So before that, I will show you. So it's if you open your LMS, the e-learning for EASA, and you will open in the PPL, which I think you have the access to the PPL EASA materials. And if you will open it, just wait for the website from the LMS. It's loading. Yeah, it's the fastest internet connection I ever had. Yeah, so I will show you the navigation log later because it looks like it's not responding. Yeah, so the navigation log. What to do? So follow these instructions. So magnetic track, magnetic heading. So we have to do the true heading and true track. You have to add or subtract what? The deviation or variation. You already had the navigation lesson, so you should know it. So from the true track, you have to move to the magnetic track. So we have to add or subtract deviation or variation. What do you think? Just 50-50. Just write it down something. Variation or deviation from true to magnetic. I can tell you that it will be too much. So what do you think? Deviation or variation? Okay, so between the true and magnetic, we have to adjust for the variation. Exactly. Thank you, Prakash. So we have to adjust for the variation. Yeah, I can tell you that the variation in the Czech Republic is for east, the fixed number. Then calculate the lag, distance, time, and fuel required. Minimum safe altitude. So we can check where. We can check in operational manual or standardized rules of the air. Communication frequency. So write it down on the navlog as well. It will reduce your workload to find it out. And study and prepare the diversions. So always be familiar with the closest airport at any point of your navigation. So is the charts and the note downs printed. And the precautionary landing description, which is written in SOPs. So let's start with this part, the navigation log. So I hope it's already, it's here. So if you have the access to the LMS, which I hope you have the access to EASA LMS, and you should have the access to the PPL lesson. So let's open the EASA, the PPL lesson. So the courses, and if you want to, if for example you forget how to calculate the navigation log, or how it looks like the navigation log, what you have to do. You will speak about that with your instructor, but you can use this private pilot license ground training. The ground lesson chapter 16, navigation. Yeah, sorry about the internet connection. So the ground lesson 16, navigation. Okay, and in that lesson, you will see the navlog, the example of Flying Academy navlog. Yeah, so it's taking a lot of time. Perfect. Okay, so let's proceed back because it's unserviceable. Program lesson 16, what happened? Okay, so looks like there's some error. Yeah, I have no idea what happens. Sorry about it. So the magnetic track. So we will check the. I will show you the navigation log. I hope it will work in a few minutes. So you have to be familiar with the SOPs. There's the precautionary landing. Yeah. So if you are not sure what the precautionary landing is, again I will explain you on the whiteboard. Here is the ground lesson. So later. Yeah. So start the course. Ground lesson 16, chapter 16, navigation. Here, open the general navigation and open the flight log. So the flight log, and this is the example of one navlog. Yeah. So here you can see the date, 26th of August 2020, then the name of the pilot, clearance. So you can here write the clearances. Yeah. Use this field to write down the clearances for the runway, QNH, after departure, clearance in the controlled airspace, and so on and so on. Here, you can write down the notes. So Lima Kilo Lima Tango runway is wet, glider activity. So basically, you can write to the notes what you brief during the pre-flight briefing, or you can write down the frequencies. Here is the block of time. So first move, and the takeoff time, landing time, and block on time. And these are the waypoints. So Lima Kilo Lima Tango, Lima Kilo Kilo Bravo, which is the Romeo, which is the exit point of Gibelli airspace, Gibelli controlled airspace. Some another point, village, another VOR point, and the destination airport. Here you can see the frequencies, navigation, because this is the VOR. But what I'm doing, my advice to write down the frequency, for example, of Gibelli, or this is the Bad Voslav, below the identification of the airport. This is the magnetic track. So if you will click on it, you can see magnetic track. You can see here the variation of 4 east. So -4. Then altitude, wind. So altitude, it's 2,000 feet wind is this one and this one with this velocity, ground speed, wind correction angle, magnetic heading, distance. So for the leg and the total, like remaining, estimated time en route, estimated time arrival, actual time of en route, and actual time of arrival. So basically, we have these 4 times. So if I will use the whiteboard for that, so basically we can use as an example from point A to point B. Doesn't matter, but how we are using these 4 times, how we are writing down. So we have these 4 estimated time en route, estimated time arrival and actual time of en route and actual time of arrival. So in the very beginning, we are starting from the takeoff, and let's take the example. So we are taking from point A to point B, some exit points from some controlled airspace. So we receive the clearance for takeoff. We check the time. Time is 11:20. So usually we are writing down only the minutes. So we will write down the minutes. So estimated time en route is 7 minutes from point A. 7 minutes is from point A to point B. So we are writing down 7 minutes because this is the which we calculated on the ground. We are took off at 20, so we will add. So estimated time of arrival will be 7. So takeoff time 11:20. Takeoff. So we will add 7 minutes to the takeoff time, which is 11:20, so 27. Then we are approaching to the point B. So we can see we have this point B inside. So we can do it like in advance. Okay, so the time is 28. We check the time, 28. So actual time of en route will be 8 minutes. So we will write down the 8. And the actual time of arrival will be 28. Then we are proceeding to the point C. And estimated time en route is 10 minutes. So 10 plus 28 is 38. Then we are arriving into this point, to point C, and we can see it's 37. So we can write down the 9 minutes as actual time of en route and write it down 37. So in this structure, we are proceeding until the last point which we have on our navlog. And as you can see here, estimated time en route, estimated time arrival, actual time of arrival, and actual time of en route and actual time of arrival. This is for the fuel, so by the leg, and total, so remaining. 0.7 for this leg, 22.7 remaining, and is decreasing, as you can see here. This is the total distance, total fuel burned, and total time and total distance. Here you can see the fuel calculation. So this is the fuel calculation for the climb. So climbing 5 minutes, gallons per hour 9. Then subtotal taxi fuel. Usually for the taxi fuel we are using 1 gallon. So reserve is for 45 minutes, 4.5 gallons or 5 at 19.9. Block fuel minus taxi 23.5. Endurance divided by 6, which of course is gallons per hour. So we have endurance for 3 hours and 55 minutes. This is the weight and balance. So as you remember, as we did it during our ground lesson, which we had last week, last week. So this is the basic empty mass, the arm, total moment. So the front tax, arm for the front tax seat, calculate the moment. Then the baggage area 1, we don't have it. We don't have nothing in the baggage area 1, but we have something in baggage area 2. So weight 30 pounds. Arm for the baggage area 2 is 84. Total moment 2,520 pounds per inches. And then the takeoff fuel. So add to the takeoff mass. You can see here that maximum takeoff mass is 1,670. So we are below, which is good. So 1,547 is our takeoff mass. Takeoff moment. So together these moments divided the moment by weight, and we have this arm. Then reduce the trip fuel from that with the same fuel arm as we calculated for a takeoff. Reduce this moment. Calculate the moment. Reduce this trip moment from the takeoff mass moment. We have the landing mass moment. We have the landing mass, and we will calculate the arm the center of gravity for the landing mass, so the total moment, total landing moment divided by total weight, total landing weight, and we have this mass checked by the instructor. And this is the performance takeoff and landing calculation. So Lima Kilo Lima Tango Airport, runway 23 left, takeoff distance available, takeoff distance required. Airport, so destination airport is Bad Voslav in Vienna, runway 231 left, landing distance available 950 meters, landing distance required is 369 meters. And this is the alternate, the Brno, runway 27, landing distance available 2,650 meters, and landing distance required 369. So this is the example of the navlog plus the fuel calculation, weight and balance, and performance calculation for the takeoff and landing. And this is the example of the navlog. So now the diversion, of course, to check the NOTAMs. So now I can show you how to check the NOTAMs, but we already did it. So in some previous lessons, so NOTAMs. For that, let's use the example of from Letňany to Lima Kilo Kilo Victor, so Karlovy Vary. So NOTAM query. Again, you can access this website from the LMS system. So selected aerodrome. So first Lima Kilo Lima Tango, which is the Letňany, then Lima Kilo Kilo Victor, which is the Karlovy Vary, and then the flight information region, which is Lima Kilo Alpha Alpha. Then the submit. So you can see we have nothing in Letňany. In Karlovy Vary, we have runway 12 and 30 closed. Important. ICE briefing office and ATC reporting office, ARO self-briefing is closed as well. And another Karlovy Vary tower provision of ATC air traffic service may be interrupted with short notice during the published operation hours of tower. Expect the delay for ATC clearance for entering or leaving the CTR Karlovy Vary. So this is the way how we can check the NOTAMs. But not only this way, what we have to do, like else we can check the ICE view, because if I will open the presentation once again, these are, for example, yeah, the NOTAMs, and in the previous, it was the draw the route on ICAO, ensure the suitable conditions, fill the navigation. So for that, we can open and we can use the navlog, the ICE view, which is the system, which is the map of the Czech Republic. This is created by Czech CA, very good app, and I recommend it to you to use it. You have many options what to do here. So basically you can preset the time, +4 sunset, tomorrow days in the altitude. I will change it to the English. And yeah, VFR. So let's keep the VFR. Yeah, so Karlovy Vary is here, Letňany is here. And if you click on it, you can see Letňany Airport, the same information, the link to the VFR manual in Czech and in English, but you can also open this CTR of Gbely from the ground to the military CTR to 2000, TMA of Gbely from 2000 to 3500, TMA of Praha, TRA GA Letňany 1 north, and TRA GA Letňany 1 south. Yeah. So for example, if you can click on Karlovy Vary Airport, you will see here the NOTAMs as well. It should be the same as we checked from the NOTAM app. Then is the SNOTAM, as you can see here, as we did it in the decoding. So even the SNOTAM, METAR, TAF, and even the frequencies as well. Yeah, so everything is here. Plus, what you can do, you can check the background of this map. Basically, I think you did it with instructor Volodymyr Mostitsky, that you know the airspace which is solid, which is filled with the color, which means that the airspace is active. So for example, this airspace is not active, TRA 56 from 1000 to flight level 125. But this airspace is active, yeah, as you can see here, from 3000 above mean sea level to flight level 245. So as I said, you can change the background of this app. So we have now the clear, but you can change to ICO. Basically, this is how it looks, the ICO chart in the paper. So the classic one. Or you can use the ortho. So basically, this you can use instead of using the Google Earth. This app you can use for finding out some reference points during the preparing the cross-country lesson. Yeah, you have another options like relief, or with the elevations, with the mountains, or ortho, or geographical. Yeah, you have many options here. So very useful app which you can use for the planning, for the checking the airspaces, and for the checking the NOTAMs as well, and the frequencies as well. Yeah, basically this is all in one app. So this was about the completing the navigation log as I tried to explain it. Next thing is the flight plan. So if you remember, as I said, we are not filling the flight plan because it's not mandatory. But when it is mandatory, filling the flight plan is mandatory when you are flying outside the Czech Republic or when you are flying during the night. But for the night, you need the night rating to be able to fly during the night. So you have this night rating is for 5 hours, yeah, only, and recommended for simple coordination. Makes sense that the flight plan provides the higher safety. So basically, follow the instruction to fill the flight plan in LMS, flight planning guidance, and basically you have many options. So in the controlled airport, the flight plan, in controlled airports, the flight plan is activated by the airport. But in uncontrolled airport, you have to request for the activation of flight plan, the frequency of the uncontrolled airport, or you can ask to request for activation flight plan, the flight information service, which is the Praha information. And when you are landing to the uncontrolled airport, you have to request for the cancel the flight plan as well. If you are landing in controlled airport, you don't have to do that. They will do it instead of you. So this is the important, yeah, because it's important not to forget to cancel the flight. Which app we are using here in Flying Academy is the Rocket Route. So right now I would like to do it more practically. So I would like to show you the Rocket Route. So because I'm sharing the screen, so I will use my account in the Rocket Route. And basically you will see the difference between the PFR flight plan and the IR flight plan in this course. So sign in. My email, my password. Yeah. Yeah, so these are the flight plans. So here are the flights. Yeah, so for example, you can see last time I used the flight plan, it was 23rd of November in České Budějovice Airport because we flew with the students the night rating. Yeah. So if I will open, this is the history. So this was the night rating flight from Česká Budějovice to Benešov and then back. Yeah, it was from 17 local to 18 local. So if you want to do if you want to fill the new flight plan, you will click on this new flight. You will add the type of the call sign of the aircraft. So for example, Oscar Kilo Papa Echo Sierra, flight number is not mandatory. So departure airport, Lima Kilo Lima Tango, destination Lima Kilo Kilo Victor. Yeah, so it's direct, yeah. So you can add initial airspeed 95, initial flight level 50, yeah. So we can put tomorrow's date. For example, here you can see the flight rules. Yeah, let's adjust the time. Let's use, for example, 6:15. This is instrument visual from EFR to VFR, VFR to IFR. Yeah. So visual, because we are flying, we are PPL, so we have to fill this VFR, general aviation, en route time. So it automatically calculates en route time 40 minutes, but we will not fly this route direct because we are in Letňany. So we will fly like via exit points. Then we will proceed to the, for example, this town, this city, and then we will proceed to Karlovy Vary. But you have to calculate another, for example, arrival route, because Karlovy Vary is a controlled airport, so they have some arrival route even for the VFR flights. So we have to add like some 10 minutes more. So let's add 1 hour en route time, and you can see here in the VFR flight, you can move with this magenta line, yeah, or basically you can tap there. For example, I can write there, I hope it will work. I can write there Lima Kilo Charlie Hotel. I hope it will work. Recalculate. And you can see this is the Chomutov airport. So I put direct to this point. Yeah. So exit point from Tbilisi is somewhere here. And then we will proceed. Of course, after you will check the airspaces, where we can fly, where we can't fly. Somewhere here is prohibited area, so we can adjust the route. But this is some like us as an example. Then we will proceed to this airport, Lima Kilo Charlie Hotel, which I wrote it down here. Now it's disappeared. So again, Lima Kilo Charlie Hotel. Load, recalculate. And now we have it. Standard instrument departure, standard arrival is for IFR. Fuel and mass and balance. So basically we can calculate the fuel in this app as well. This one, crew, and another thing. And basically this is everything from the VFR. Yeah. If you want to set the instrument rules, so IFR. So let's use the example departure from Lima Kilo Kilo Victor to Lima Kilo Kilo Victor. And that's it. And here we'll proceed. We will set standard instrument departures and standard instrument arrivals. And it's more, you can see more additional information which we have to add to fill the flight plan for the IFR. But for the VFR, it's pretty much easy. So basically, you need just only this app. Yeah. So that was it. So, yeah. Okay, so I will sign out. So this was the flight plan. But also, how you can fill the flight plan, you can call, you can basically fill the flight plan via this app, via the EBS with this website, and you can fill the flight plan as well here. Yeah, flight plan filling, for example, here you can see the help, so they will help you. So by the phone, by this phone, or to send the formula, or use the Rocket Route app. So basically, you have many options. Yeah, here how to do that. Or if you are not sure how to fill the flight plan in the app, and you will find the information about the flight planning, how to fill the flight plan in the Czech Republic in the app. So this was the flight plan. So from the flight plan, let's move to the fuel requirements. So for the fuel requirements, we have to follow this fuel policy. We have the taxi fuel, of course, for the taxiing. As you saw in the navigation log, taxi fuel, for the taxi fuel, we are using like 1 gallon, usually. Then the trip fuel, so trip fuel from takeoff to landing in the destination airport. Then we have the reserve fuel and commander fuel. So the reserve fuel consists of alternate fuel, final reserve fuel, and contingency fuel. And commander fuel consists of additional fuel based on pilot's opinion. Okay, so pilot thinks that we need, like, for sure we need like for 1 or 2 gallons more, so we will add this fuel. In the general aviation in Cessna 152, usually we are departing with the fuel tanks. Yeah, but anyway, we are calculating because it's good for our future training that you will be then you will have the habit that we are calculating the fuel before the flight, every flight. And then, as we already, I think, discussed about that, the final reserve fuel at least for 45 minutes for the VFR rules. So it doesn't matter where you are flying, doesn't matter if you're flying alone or with the instructor, always 45 minutes. It's around 4.5 gallons. So you can use the number of, you can use the value of 5 gallons. So always gallons fuel for your flight plus fuel reserve for 45 minutes. So plus 5 gallons usually, yeah? And of course, calculate the fuel according to POH of your aircraft. So Cessna 152, 172. So if we open the EASA documents manual, so we will open the operational manual part Charlie. So flight planning is here, the performance here, and let's start with the flight planning. So as you can see, as I showed you, so taxi, trip, reserve, and extra fuel. Taxi fuel is in an amount of fuel to be used according to expectation prior to initiating a takeoff. Approximate amount of fuel for taxiing for given airplane time is stated in the aircraft flight manual. So basically the POH of Cessna 152, in most of the cases in Flying Economy 72 or Glass Cockpit 72. Then we have the trip fuel. The trip fuel is an amount of fuel that shall include fuel for takeoff and climb to cruising altitude, fuel for flight and cruising altitude until the beginning of descent, fuel from the beginning of descent to point. First, we have the 2 options because we are providing the IR and VFR training as well. So of instrument approach initiating IFR flight over the center of destination aerodrome in case of VFR flight. And then fuel for approach and landing at destination aerodrome, so 15 minutes for the IFR and 10 minutes for us as a VFR airport, a VFR flight. Then we have the reserve fuel. So the reserve fuel is an amount of fuel that shall include fuel for flight from destination aerodrome to alternate aerodrome if alternate aerodrome is required. Then include the final reserve fuel. For the flight to alternate aerodrome, in case of VFR, over the center of destination aerodrome, and flight for approach and landing execution on aerodrome airport 10 minutes for VF flight. So it's the same as for the trip fuel. And then, as I told you, we have the final reserve fuel. So final reserve fuel for the VFR day flight is 45 minutes of flight at average cruise fuel consumption. So average cruise fuel consumption of Cessna 152 is 6 gallons per hour. And for IR training, for IR flights is 2 hours. And then we have the extra fuel, which is defined as extra fuel is a fuel quantity the pilot in command decides to take as extra fuel. Then we have the minimums, and about the minimum safe altitude, as I said, minimum safe, try to maintain the minimum safe altitude 1,000 feet. So here you can see, this is the description, yeah? So no flight except for takeoff, approach, and landing phase or training of emergency procedures can be operated below the minimum safe altitude, or an altitude that permits to continue flight to suitable landing area after critical engine failure or after the engine failure. Descending below this altitude is authorized in case of emergency only. Yeah. So for us is these two parts. So VFR day and VFR night. Makes sense that for VFR night, this minimum safe altitude is more than for the VFR day. So for the VFR day, except for takeoff and landing phase, VFR flights shall not be operated lower than over densely populated areas such as the towns, villages, or social gatherings no lower than 1,000 feet above the highest obstacles. 1,000 feet is approximately 300 meters within the radius of 600 meters from the airplane. So 1,000 and 600 meters within the radius. Anywhere else, then which is pointed in the point A. So anywhere else over the densely populated areas, no lower than 500 feet. So 150 meters over terrain or water, or 500 feet over the highest obstacle in radius 150 meters or the radius 500 feet from the airplane. But what I recommend to do to maintain always at least 1,000 feet in case of some emergency or some malfunction on the aircraft. In case of VFR night, minimum altitude of aerodrome shall be 1,300 AGL, while at the aerodrome circuit, this altitude is reduced to 1,000 above aerodrome level. And minimum altitude for cross-country night VFR, as you can see, is 2,000 AGL. Yeah, so we need 2,000 AGL at least for the VFR night cross-country. So this was about the fuel. Then the pre-flight inspection. So the tips for pre-flight inspection: follow the instruction in POH of your aircraft. Yeah, so Cessna 152, 172, 172 glass cockpit. Always most important book and the document for you, the POH of the aircraft. Avoid you during the pre-flight check, during the pre-flight inspection in rush, stress, or fatigue. Yeah, do not rush. Take your time. If someone is pushing on you to do it faster, tell him, no, I'm checking my aircraft. Do it everything properly and item by item. Check everything, yeah, and be sure that everything is working properly. And use the checklist philosophy: do and read. So do it, check the checklist and read it. Yeah, okay. So carburetor filter clean, carburetor filter clean, carburetor air filter clean. Check it and do it and read it. Then do not skip any items in pre-flight inspection. It's associated with the pre-flight inspection in rush, stress, and fatigue. Some students have the tendency to skip the items because they think that some items are not important, but everything in aviation is important, and that's the reason why we are using the checklist, not to skip, but check everything and follow the checklist. So do not skip anything. Yeah. Common mistakes which leads to the accidents are forgetting to check and drain the fuel, to check the oil. So like the serious mistakes is to forget to check the fuel and the oil quantity. Yeah. Then the pilot actually checked something, but due to stress fatigue, she did not realize it. Maybe you already checked the fuel, but you don't remember it because you were under the pressure, or fatigue, or rush. Yeah. So do not hesitate to measure it 2 times if you are not sure. And if you don't like something during pre-flight check, or you are not sure in safety, delay the flight, call the maintenance, or ask another crew, or what is maybe the best option, ask another instructor. Yeah, if you're like the student, or if you are like pilot in command with the PP license, ask the instructor as well. Yeah, we are all colleagues and we are trying to help to each other because we are working and we are flying and we are working in aviation. Yeah. Tips in flight. So for the en route navigation, tips for the flight. So during the flight planning, use this stuff as a landmarks. Civilization, especially the big towns or cities or specific buildings such as the castles, church, or some bigger ruins. Tracks, do not use the small roads, but use the highways. Very good reference and landmarks. And use the huge lakes or the big rivers. Yes, good reference, good landmarks. Nature, such as the forest areas. Again, very good landmarks. Plus, you can see the huge forest and areas and the highways and big towns on the ICO map as well. But what is important, because usually you will fly, but you will fly with the single engine aircraft, do not overfly these bigger forests and bigger lakes due to maybe some possible engine failure. Yeah. Land such as the hills, valleys, the mountains, and other landmarks such as the power stations, antennas. Yeah, but be careful. Okay, I can see the antenna, I can use it as a landmark, but I know I have to maintain some safe distance from it and above it. But of course, as you had the general navigation lesson, in which the Vova Mostitsky explained you the VOR, so you can use the VOR radials when you are lost. It's very easy to use the VOR, and so you can find on the ICO map the VOR. You can set the frequency of this VOR, and you can find your position and fly to the VOR. After you will fly, you will be over the VOR. You will know where you are, and you can solve the situation. Or of course, use the GPS. Yeah. During the flight plan, do not use this stuff as a landmark. Civilizations, so small villages, yeah, unknown small buildings outside the chart, tracks like a small thin routes, small lakes or rivers. Yeah, these three, and avoid long flight by single engine aircraft over the mountains, as I said. So over the mountains, over the forests, and over the huge waters such as the sea, ocean, or in the Czech Republic, or huge, bigger lakes. Yeah, always consider that you can meet some conditions such as the engine failure or some other malfunction. So try to always be close to some field or to some airport in case of something. Yeah, and avoid the flying in any area where the emergency landing will be not safely, which is especially over the huge forests, over the mountains, and over the water lakes. And especially during the night flight by single engine aircraft, keep in mind that the options are limited. So when you are flying cross country during the night, always try to choose the big cities, highways, and basically that's it, because the rest of it is very confusing. Small cities and small villages and towns are very confusing. So only basically the highways and the bigger cities. And then be aware about the severe illusions or during the night, especially in IMC. So when you will enter the cloud, trust and rely only on the instruments. Maybe you can feel something different that you are banking, but trust your artificial horizon that you are maintaining the wings level flight. So trust your instruments and do not rely on your sense. So in case actions at the turning point. So as for example, we can use the example as I filled the flight plan. So we have some point, we are filling the navlog, so estimated time en route, estimated time arrival, estimated actual time of en route, and actual time of arrival. So how we are doing that? So first, twist. So prepare the next heading. So if we have the heading back, use the heading back, OBS, align the directional gyro with the magnetic compass, and so on and so on. So first, basically, to prepare the next heading. So the twist. Then we have to turn. So turn to the prepare and pre-calculate heading. So that's the second thing. Third thing is the time. So write down the time. So estimate the actual time of en route and actual time of arrival. And the last key is the talk. So to communicate on radio if it needed, if he needs to communicate. Yeah. So first, twist, turn, time, and talk. So try to remember these 4 steps, 4 items. Yeah. So now try to please open the worksheets. and you will try to answer it on task number 3 and task number 4. So I will open for you the task number 3. So, and we are calculating according to what? We are calculating the fuel according to checklist, POH, or SOP. So try to answer it in your worksheet and then let me know. Okay, so we have 3 options: checklist, POH, and SOP. So what do you think? I hope it is working. Okay, so what do you think, guys? Checklist, POH, or SOP? Good, so I hope you already answered. So POH, yeah? Which is the correct answer. Then the final reserve fuel is at least for how many minutes or how many hours? 2, 5 for VFR, yeah? 2 hours, 15 minutes, or 45 minutes. So 45 minutes, so answer it in your worksheets. Correct. So now I will activate the attendance. So I will open the attendance. So just click. It will takes 5 minutes. 5 minutes it will be open. So click on the attendance, yeah, in your worksheet, please. Thank you, Daniela. Thank you, Mabet. Thank you, Florian. And another task, task number 4, about which we spoke a few minutes ago. So apply these sections at turning points. So here on the right side, you have twist, time, torque, and turn. So in which sequence we are using these 4 steps? Twist, time, torque, and turn. What do you think? Thank you, Maxim. So first twist, turn, time, and torque. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you, Max. Thank you, Tushkar. Great job. Great job. So now let's take a 5 minutes break until 7:10, and then we will finish our last ground lesson about the cross country, okay? Thank you for your participation and pressing the attendance list. Yeah, for those who didn't click, so try to click on the attendance, please. Yeah.
going to be a very short, precise, and useful explanation of steep turns for you to understand the background, the need, and how to perform it properly up to the standards. For this lesson today, we're going to be using Learning Management System or short LMS. So guys, please follow me. I go through IASA on top, and I will click on the e-learning, and you will see that the page will come up, which we can choose what do we want to do, which part of our training it is. So here, I'm going to take the private pilot license flight training, as we're going to be discussing the flight maneuver. Here, I'm going to be focusing on chapter 9, performance maneuvers. And let's click on it and get it on the screen. And as we go down, you can see the description, and here are the maneuvers that are covered by this chapter. In this part, we have the content, the written content, and below we can have some video material. We have a steep turn and steep turn 1. A steep turn is an animation, and steep turn 1 is in real life. Now I will go to the steep turn in the written format, which I have prepared here beforehand. There is an introduction and the steep turn itself, how to do it, a picture, and we have here common mistakes that students usually face or pilots usually face. Now let's go. Guys, in terms of performance maneuvers, one of them, as you know, is the steep turns. And what is a steep turn? Usually, to control the aircraft, we turn using the roll axis. That means turning the wings, using the aileron and the yoke. So we want to go left, we turn the aileron to the left, and right vice versa. And up to 30 degrees, this load factor is negligible. And once you go more than 30 degrees, the load factor increases significantly. So much so that it will push the aircraft nose down, and you have to counteract it by applying back pressure on the yoke or slightly increasing the power. This was the brief explanation of this steep turn. Now, for a more in-depth understanding, we're going to refer to a real-life video on board the aircraft and how the maneuver is actually done. So we will refer to the steep turn maneuver done by one of our good instructors in the Miami base. Here is the video, and we shall cover it.
With turning back into the wind, you can see my ground speed is coming up pretty good here. We're at 80 knots.
And it's a high quality video which you can refer to and watch the complete video in our e-learning system on flyaffair.com. Thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you learned something new. For a more in-depth understanding of aviation maneuvers, theoretical knowledge, you can visit our online classes on flyaffair.com or join and use our e-learning system on the LMS. And don't forget to use your 3-day free trial. Until then, please keep yourself updated, following us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook.
Okay, so hello back, and let's finish it. Your class. Again, don't worry that the worksheet doesn't work. It's fine, yeah? So loss procedure. So what do you think? Follow this instruction. What we will do if we will lost? Stay calm, no panic. Most important thing, stay calm and do not panic. Check the fuel. If you have enough fuel, you can be in the air. You can fly, still fly. Communicate with the ATC if possible. So first, try to calm down. Think where you are, on which frequency you are communicating, and contact, for example, the best option to Praha information. And they can provide you, they can give you the necessary informations. Yeah. Climb higher and confirm your position with at least 3 landmarks on your ICAO chart. So try to find the good landmarks such as the big cities, highways, and in antennas, or the VOR, yeah, as you can see here down. So consider the possible position based on time flown from the last known point, so from the navlog, yeah, according to navlog. And if you are not sure, execute a 180 degrees turn, so fly back to last known position. So you are filling the navlog, so fly back to the previous point. So basically make 180 turn from your correct heading if you are following the heading from your navlog. Follow and main road, railways, river to regain your orientation in the case you are lost. Use all available devices which are available for you in the cockpit, such as the VOR, GPS as well. Yeah. If pilot did not find himself, find the place for the precautionary landing and follow this procedure as trained. You will train the precautionary during your flight training. So basically, I can write you down in the whiteboard, write down the precautionary. So precautionary landing. So we will find some good field for the landing, or best option is some runway strip, some runway usually in an uncontrolled airport, yeah. Or we are practicing during the training on some field, yeah. So this is some field. So we are flying. So we choose this field and we are flying. We are overflying this field. Flying. Then it has to be like depends on the terrain. Let's do it to the right. So let's imagine there is some circuit. Always you have to imagine there is some circuit. So proceed the circuit, overfly, check the runway, check the strip, or check the field if there is anything. So start descent, put the flaps 1, and make low pass on the right side of the field. So the field will be on your left side. So what we are trying to do that. So low pass will be at 200 feet AGL. We will check the strip, runway strip, or the field. We will remember this heading and the altitude. Yeah, so 200 AGL, low pass, then we are flying from the low pass. The first and second turn is continuous one, so they are together, and we are climbing to 500 feet AGL. And because we make the low pass at 200 AGL, so we have to climb only 300 feet more. Yeah, so 500 feet. First and second turn is together, and then to the downwind. So prepare the aircraft for the landing. Phase leg, flaps 2, and the final, and try to land on the runway. So basically, first overfly. So overfly, then low pass on the right side, so low pass, and then the landing, yeah, and then the landing. So these 3 steps, this is the precautionary landing. And yeah, loss procedures. Again, very common situation. You can lose the communication. During the problem solving, don't forget to fly the plane according to your navlog. Important, always follow your prepared and calculate navlog, which is the most important thing. And turn back immediately if you are not sure in your safety. Always turn back means make 180 degrees turn to your previous heading. So a pilot has a problem with electricity. During problem solving, pilot forgot to follow the navigation log, and finally pilot found himself without radio, GPS, VOR, and he's lost. Yeah. So always be very careful with that. Then flying VFR in IMC. So as I said, rely on the instruments. Do not rely on your sense. Yeah. Again, it's the same. Stay calm. In VFR, pilot found himself in EMC. Rely on instruments immediately. So which instruments? Especially artificial horizon, altimeter, vertical speed indicator, and the airspeed indicator. Then we can use the turn coordinator, GPS, and for finding ourselves, we can use the VOR. Climb minimum safe altitude as soon as possible and make 180-degree turn and fly back to our previous point. So here we have the safe tips. So be aware of severe illusions in IMC. Basically, the IMC is almost similar during as a, yeah, of course. The IMC is similar as the night flight, the flight during the night. For example, I have the experience when we were in Budějovice for the night rating with the students. So we flew the cross country from Budějovice to the north and fly back. So in the night, students follow the instruments, but then we unintentionally, because you can't see the clouds in front of you in the night. So unintentionally, we enter the cloud. So we flew in the cloud like for 1 minute, then we leave the clouds. But during the cloud, the student didn't stay calm and didn't follow the artificial horizon, and immediately he followed his sense, and immediately we were turning 30 degrees to the right and descending very fast. Yeah. So that's the reason why we are following the artificial horizon and all these instruments. Yeah, don't continue to VFR in IMC. Never, yeah? Turn back. 180 turn is the easiest option. Don't descend to trying to maintain visual contact. Never, yeah? You never know what is below you. Never descend, only maintain the level, or better option is to climb above, climb to the higher altitude. And of course, follow the instruction of air traffic control. Right now, we will speak in this 40 minutes or in half an hour, and the 10 minutes will be for your questions, about the example of cross country from Lima Kilo, Lima Tango, which is one base in Czech Republic of Flying Academy, to the second base in Austria, which is Lima Oscar Alpha Victor, which is Bad Voslav. So this is the map. This is from the VFR manual of Czech Republic. This is the map of the Czech Republic of the Letňany. So here, frequencies 10120.335 and belly tower 120.885. Here you can find the circuit altitude of Letňany, 1,900 feet, elevation of the airport, and location of the airport, which is here next to the belly. This site, you can see more detailed information of the runway, so magnetic directions, runway dimensions, strength, takeoff run available, takeoff distance available, accelerated stop and distance available, and landing distance available. And this is the Bad Voslav. So you can see basically the informations are there. Yeah, the informations are there. Same, because it's mandatory, but the design is different. Yeah, you can see the Austria map of the Bad Voslav. So Österreich, aerodrome elevation, meters, speed, runway, dimension, takeoff run available, landing distance available, and the runways, yeah, here. So basically I can show you, yeah. So we can open the FlyFA, and here you can see the Euro IP. So we will open it, the Czech IP and the Austria IP. So Czech IP, you already saw the Czech IP, so it's basically divided into general, en route, and aerodrome. The Austrian as well. if you want to check the Letňany, you have to open the VFR manual and find the Letňany airport. If you want not sure about the like radio navigation system, navigation warning, en route chart, general rules for the VFR, visual rules, there's the IP, and aerodromes are the last section. Yeah. So we will open the VFR manual of the Czech Republic. Sorry. So VFR manual, scroll down to Letňany. And this is the here. So this is the chart which we have in the presentation. Aerodrome and the procedures. So you have to be familiar with that. Yeah. Entering, exiting points from the CTR belly because Letňany is located inside the belly military CTR and the procedures. So you have to went through. The Austrian IP is different. So this link will take you to the digital IP Austria, which we want. Then you can see here Austro Control, IP Austria. So the current version from 1st January until the 27th of January 2021. So let's click on it. And you can see same as in the Czech IP, 3 parts, part 1, part 2, and part 3 aerodromes. So part 3 aerodromes, let's open it. So we are looking for what? We are looking for the aerodromes. So aerodrome 2, click on it. And here, primary aerodromes. So Graz, Innsbruck, Klagenfurt, Linz, Salzburg, and Vienna, Schwechat. And the secondary aerodromes. So Vienna, Neustadt, Bad Voslau, Hohenems, St. Johann, Wels, Zell am See, and other aerodromes. We are looking for Bad Voslau. So you open the charts are here. So these are the informations. Yeah, about the airport. And these are the charts. So aerodrome chart of the Bad Voslau. Standard departure chart is for instrument, and chart for the VFR flights. So let's open it, click on it. Yeah, so this is for the VFR flight in Bad Voslau. Yeah, so this is the airport, which airspace you have to avoid, what to do, which altitude you have to maintain, arrivals, departures only, arrivals only. Yeah, so you can see it's more difficult to fly here. Yeah, so you can see, you can have your own opinion, which IP is better, Czech one or Austrian one, but basically they will give you all the necessary information which you need for the flight. Yeah. Because both of them, Czech National Aviation Authority or Austrian, they are following the EASA regulations, and they are just adjusting these regulations to their own countries. Yeah, so it was Bad Voslau. Yeah, so about the arrival and departure procedures. Yeah, so each aerodrome in aviation has specific rules. That's the reason why we are checking in the IP or in the VFR manual the procedures of aerodrome. So we have to be familiar with Letňany departure procedures, with Letňany arrival procedures, with Bad Voslau procedures, departure and arrival as well. Then, as I told you, we have to prepare like alternate airports. So we have to be more or less familiar with the alternate airports as well, to have the airport diagrams of the alternate airports on the board. Then we have to analyze the arrival and departure visual operational chart, arrival and departure aerodrome chart, and textual description of procedure for arrival and departure. So basically the procedure. So basically what I showed you the few minutes ago. Yeah. And then, of course, the decision to fly or not to fly. So that's the I'm safe checklist. So do you know what is the I'm safe checklist? what it's for I, what is for M, what is for S, what is for A, F, and E. So the I is the illness. So do you have the current or recent illness that could affect the flight? While the, so do not underestimate the effect that the common cold or allergies can affect your ability to fly. Yeah, from watery eyes and runny nose to just feeling out of it. Make sure that you consider any current conditions that might affect the flight. Then we have the M, which is for medications. So have you been taking any meds that could impair your ability to fly? So if you are on medication, the amount of time to wait before flying depends on the specific medication. Yeah? Also research and be aware of potential long-term effects of using this medication. Then the stress is for the S. So stress are expecting unusual psychological pressure or anxiety. So make sure that you analyze your stress level. Yeah, it is very important before the flying, and develop some like positive coping mechanism to deal with this stress. Yeah, it can be stress from your family or from the work or from the school. Exercise, yeah, just getting some more sleep, or do something which help you, yeah, to avoid the stress or fight against the stress. Then A is for the alcohol, yeah. So have you had any alcohol in the last 8 hours? So like drinking and driving is the same. Flying and alcohol don't mix. It's the same. So studies on the effects on alcohol or pilot performance show that progressive increases in the number of seriousness of procedure errors with increasing the levels of alcohol. Yeah. So EASA clearly prohibits any pilot from flying who has consumed the alcohol within the 8 hours of flying while under the influence of alcohol or with a blood alcohol content of 0.004% or greater. It also recommends that pilots ideally wait at least 24 hours after drinking to get behind the controls of the aircraft. Even if you follow the 8 hours from bottle to throttle, so that's the rule, 8 hours from bottle to throttle rule. Remember that hangovers are dangerous in the cockpit and cause flu-like symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, extreme fatigue, problems focusing, and dizziness. Yeah, so alcohol, no way. Then we have the F, which is the fatigue. Are you tired or no adequately rest? So although there are EASA regulations and company policies for pilots to help manage the fatigue affects everyone differently. So it's important that each individual pilot knows their own body and what they need to do feel great before the performance, before the flight. Yeah, do you need 8 hours of sleep, or can you function well or less? Make sure that you eat well and get good nutrition. Know your own limitations and prepare with them in mind. And the last letter is the E, which represents the emotion. So are you emotionally upset about anything? So while pilots are generally calm, emotions can sometimes get the best of anyone, and it's important to assess your feelings before the flying an aircraft. Yeah, is there anything bothering you or upsetting you? Are you feeling angry, impatient, sad, or depressed? Keep in mind that negative emotions can lie under the surface, only the manifest later under stress or pressure. So taking an emotional inventory may be uncomfortable for some pilots, but it's important part of an overall picture of our health. Yeah, then performance calculation. Yeah, which section in POH? Can you write it down? Can you write it down which section we are using for the POH? Of system 152, for example? Which number is the section of the performance? Yeah, so let's use the link. This is the performance calculation for this example from Letňany to Bad Voslav. But where we can find in which section we can find the performance? Or in which section of POH? So system 152. Yeah, so the POH. Scroll down for the content and you can see performance, section number 5, weight and balance, section number 6. So performance, and as we did it in the performance class, you will did it. So performance, calculate the performance for the takeoff, for the landing, so the takeoff, time, cruise performance, endurance, we need it as well, and landing distance. So it is important for the pilot to calculate the performance before the flight in order to accomplish what accomplished to the safety. And each phase of flight needs to be taken in consideration, and the parameters as they may vary with atmosphere and weather conditions. So as we discussed, the density altitude is important, mass of the aircraft, and type of the surface where the aircraft is operates. So in case of Bad Voslav, you have to take into account the grass runway in Letňany. So the takeoff distance required will be increased by the grass surface, usually by 15%, if I'm not mistaken. And in Bad Voslav, we have the concrete runway, so you don't have to calculate, you don't have to take into account. Then we have the fuel planning. So pre-flight fuel calculation is the process of determining the appropriate amount of fuel to be loaded for a specific flight. For aircraft with reciprocating engines, as system 152, we will use the POH. So fuel consumption of system 152 POH. What is the fuel capacity of system 152 tanks? And when planning a flight, you must determine how much fuel is needed to reach your destination. Again, this link is for the fuel calculation in this example. Yeah, I don't want to speak in detail about this example, but you can read it in the LMS. It's example for this particular flight from Letňany to the Bad Voslav with all this explanation. Yeah. Then route planning. The day of the flight has come. So what we have to do again, airspaces, weather, NOTAMs briefing, performance calculation, and mass and balance has been done. So now let's try to open it, the NOTAMs, and let's try to find a NOTAM for the Bad Voslav. Yeah, no data found because it's air navigation service of the Czech Republic. Yeah, so be careful for that. Yeah. So then we have to prepare route planning. So airspace is better, as I said, and the communication. Communication represent a crucial part of the flight. So as I showed you the navigation log, try to write down the frequency and prepare the sequence of the frequency which you will use during the flight. So first, I will use the Letňany radio. Then I will use the belly tower. Then I will use the Flight Information Service of Czech Republic, and then I will use the Flight Information Service of Austria, and then Barvoslav, for example. The struggle pilot and especially the student pilot on the communication phase of the flight. Yeah, especially for the student pilots, they are focusing a lot on the communication, and then they are like losing the situational awareness, and then they are not concentrating on the flight. They are focusing a lot on the communication, but not on the other things. But it will come with the time, yeah. So you don't have to be like nervous about that. For example, the lost communication. Yeah, we can meet the conditions that we will lose the communication during the flight. We have a lot of examples. So basically, loss of communication procedure usually occur in one of three circumstances: radio interference, mismanagement of communications equipment, or misapplication of prescribed procedures, or malfunction of communications equipment. Loss of communication may be transitory or prolonged. Yeah, it most often occurs because of inadvertent mismanagement of aircraft equipment by flight crew. Whether the brief or prolonged loss of communication has obvious flight safety significance. Potentially dangerous outcomes include the following: a pilot is unable to receive and therefore a new clearance and leading to loss of separation. Pilot is unable to pass important information to ATC, and loss of communication also may be interpreted as a security threat and result in military interception, for example. So first example is the case to loss of communication to uncontrolled airport. Aerodrome. Yeah, if communication failure has been confirmed in uncontrolled airspace, this is not a big deal, not a big problem. Like, it is a big problem, but not huge. Remain calm and divert or continue your flight to an uncontrolled airfield. Usually in the ATZ, a two-way communication is not required. However, during your diversion, some precautions should be taken, such as keep transmitting in blind at regular time and position your attention and situation. Avoid all controlled airspace, because as you know, you can't enter the controlled airspace without the clearance. Be extremely careful to traffic, since you cannot have traffic information. As well, be careful of weather as well, since you cannot receive weather updates. And avoid all TMA, since you cannot receive information whether they become active. And upon the landing, if you were in contact with some air traffic system when you had a communication failure, call them to explain them the issue and to advise them that you are safe after the landing. So basically, in case of, I'm pretty sure that you already spoke about it during the communication lesson. So in case of communication failure, what to do? First, check the headsets, check the jacks, check the frequencies, check the radio. Maybe your radio is muted. So check the frequency and try to, if not working, try to communicate on the second radio. And as I told you, during this example in uncontrolled airport, yeah, do the overhead procedure, as we already discussed about that, and I draw you the procedures. And of course, we are living in 21st century, so you can use the mobile phone, find quickly the operator of the airport and send them the message that you have communication failure after everything, of course, after everything, yeah, but is the option as well. Then we have the second case, which is inside the TMA. So inside the TMA, if communication failure has been confirmed in controlled airspace of TMA, leave the airspace or fly below if terrain and obstacle allow to do that, and continue or divert to an uncontrolled airfield by applying precautions which was stated in this case 1. So what we are doing during the communication failure, which squawk we are setting on the transponder, can you tell me, guys? Very good, thank you. 7,600, so 67600, so 76 radio fix, yeah, it's a little help. So upon landing, call the air traffic service and with whom you were in contact when you had the communication, just inform them that you are safely on the ground. Then we have the case inside the CTR. So basically, if communication failure has been confirmed in CTR where your destination airfield is, above all, do not land without the clearance. Never ever do land without the clearance. Continue toward the airfield and hold or orbit abeam the tower. If the holding points are published, abeam the airfield. Otherwise, proceed to the closest point and hold over. Set squawk 7600 when ATC will notice that you are holding without being instructed and you are not answering to their calls with squawk 7600. They will understand that you are not able to communicate. Set squawk 7600 and proceed to the publish holding fix and wait for the light signals while holding as published. So we already spoke about the light signals, so just I would like to revise your knowledge. So in aircraft flight, I don't want to speak about the light signals on the ground, but on the in the flight. So we have the steady green, we have the flashing green, we have steady red, and we have the flashing red. So what stands for the steady green? Do you remember? In the air, you are in the air and you can see the steady green. So this clearance is for what? This light signal is for what? Do you remember? Steady green, the first one. So the steady green is easy, it's clear to land. Yeah. Then we have the flashing green, which means what? Do you remember? Flashing green means return for landing. Then we have steady red. What does it mean, the steady red? Steady red means give way to other aircraft. Yeah. And then we have the last one, the flashing red, which means airport is unsafe, do not land. Yeah. I'm not sure, Maxim, what do you mean the 8800? You can specify that. So that's the light signals, just the revision of the light signals. So now open the worksheet for the last task. Which is drag the words into the drag the words into the correct boxes. So we have the never trust your something, rely on, and follow them in any circumstances. So we have the feelings and instruments. So what will be the first and what will be the second? Okay, let's try it. Good, thanks. Correct answer. So let's go back for the last slide of your theory. Just examples of emergencies. Yeah, so be familiar with the emergencies. It's fine. I will submit this. Submit the attendance. Don't worry, Ali. Yeah. So all scenarios, everything is written in the POH SOP. So examples: engine failure during the row. If engine failure occurs during the takeoff run, the most important thing to do is to stop the airplane on the remaining runway. And those extra items on the checklist will provide added the safety after the failure on this type of the aircraft. Then we have the during engine failure during the flight. Yeah, so we have to figure it out where we are. If we have some option to land, if we have some closed uncontrolled airports or some fields, try to restart the engine, follow the checklist. If the engine is failed to restart, best gliding speed, so with the flaps 60 knots for Cessna 152, without the flaps 65, glide, squawk 7700, follow the secure the engine, so mixture shut off, fuel shuttle wave on, ignition off, then flaps down and master off, unlatch the doors and try to land. Yeah? Then we have the lost communication procedures about which I already spoke. So flight planning, example of emergencies, again, in the LMS, in the flight lesson 20, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so you can see here the examples of emergencies. Yeah, so you can study basically all of that, because it's better to be prepared for the practical training, because during the flight we are practicing these simulated emergencies. Yeah. And of course, what is important to be familiar with the documents of the aircrafts. When I will find the aircrafts. So here, let's use the example of Cessna 152, and you can find there the checklist for the Cessna 152. So QRH, normal one, and emergency. So let's use the emergency. So here you can see the engine fire during the start, engine failure during the takeoff, what to do, direction control maintain, throttle idle, brakes applied, flaps retracted, mixture idle, cut off, ignition off, master off, engine failure off. As we spoke about the engine failure during the flight, so airspeed 60 knots with the flaps, carb heat on, shuttle valve verify on, mixture on, and ignition both. So try to restart the engine. Prime in and lock. Emergency landing without the engine power, so the engine failed to start it on again. So airspeed 65 with the flaps up, 60 with flaps down, mixture off, full shuttle wave off, ignition off, flaps as required, seat belts fastened, cabin doors unlatched open before the touch and go, master off, and touchdown. Yeah, and another examples of the emergencies, such as the engine fire in the flight, electrical fire in the flight, cabin fire, wing fire, and static source blockage and spin recovery. Yeah, if you will open it, the SOP, so standard operational procedures, you can find basically everything same as in the checklist, but amplified. Yeah, so emergency procedures is part 3. So we can find the engine failure during the takeoff run. Yeah, amplified procedure. So direction control, maintain the direction control of the aircraft, maneuvering as necessary to avoid the obstacles. Throttle idle immediately upon first indication of an engine power loss or failure during the takeoff. Call out stop, stop, stop. and close the throttle immediately. Or if you will find the emergency landing. Emergency landing without engine power. So this is same as in the emergency checklist, and these are the amplified procedure. Yeah. So airspeed, put nose down immediately, depress the mixture, off, unlatch the doors, lift the interior doors handles to unlatch and open the cabin doors to prevent the possibility of having the cabin doors jammed upon landing. So these are the SOP. Yeah. So this was the final slide of your presentation. So now we have, I would say, 10 minutes until, or 7 minutes until the end of this class. So I will be here. If you have any question, write it down, unmute your mic. I will try to answer it. And I will send you to the chat the homework link, homework sheet link, but you should have the access from your LMS account. But anyway, I will. The records from the class, no, they are not in the LMS. Yeah, but I will ask IT guy. I'm not sure. Like I know where the recordings are in the company email, but I'm not sure that we are providing like right now the recordings for the students. Yeah. But they are not in the LMS. Yeah? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So if you have some question about the cross country or about your future practice training or about another like the subject which you had in the past, just ask. Yeah? I'm here.
Thank you very much, Tomasz. Let me ask regarding the next step. Actually, they did the preparation and now they are ready for exam, or what's the next step?
Like the next step, like if you have the option to come to the Czech Republic, I will recommend you to come to the Czech Republic and start with your practical training. Yeah. If you don't have this option, I will recommend you to go through the PPL, like through the LMS, the theoretical training, and study for the theoretical exams. For the receiving, like study the test in the testing portal, and like receive the certificate for the theoretical exams. As to the question from the Maxim, if it is possible to split the payment of practical training, sorry, I can't answer this question because I'm the instructor, and you have to ask this question to your sales manager who is responsible for you. Yeah, unfortunately, sorry, I can't answer it. Like, yeah, like every time in Czech Republic is best for flying. Yeah, because like to be honest, like of course the best weather in the Czech Republic is spring, summer, and the autumn. Yeah, the winter like depends on the weather. But to be honest, like last week, like this weekend, like it was snowing, yeah, for 2 days here in Czech Republic, and we have like 10 centimeters of the snow on the runway. And on the Saturday, it was clear sky, and to be honest, it was the most beautiful day I've ever flew in. I was in the aircraft. Yeah. So winter is good as well. Yeah, about the exams of PPL, of course, ask. I'm listening. Yeah, of course, you don't have to do everything at one. Do the theoretical, we have to complete 100 of LMS plus 100 attendance and pass all exams from LMS, right? Yeah, you have to receive the certificate. Like when you have to receive the certificate from the school, and then you have to pass the theoretical exams from the national from the Austrocontrol, from the Czech CA. And plus you have to follow the syllabus, so you have to have all the ground lessons according to syllabus PPL. And according to Maxim's question, like, to be honest, like, always try to pass all these subjects, all PPL subjects in one day, yeah, because I know it's difficult. It's not easy, but it's better to try, at least to try to pass them in one day, all of these subjects. And of course, you can, if you will fail one subject or two subjects or more, you can pass them in the next day. Yeah, nothing wrong, nothing bad on that. Yeah, so like my recommendation, try to pass them in one day, all of them, because for example, the communication, it's easy, EDLO is easy as well. No, it's misunderstanding. You have to start practical training before you will pass the theoretical exams. Yeah. You have to pass the theoretical exams before you will receive the license. And according to medical class, you need to receive the medical class before you will be released for the solo. Because if you don't have the medical class, at least the class 2 for the PPL, you can't be released for the solo flight. Yeah, medical, yeah. Depends on class, yeah. For the PPL, it's fine to have class 2. If you want to proceed to like this, another training like CPL, it's better to done in the very beginning, the class 1. About the email, you can contact Flying Academy, yeah? Flying Academy, no, the Salesforce, the sales. Exactly, as Florian writing down, the most complicated part on the class 1 is the interview, is the psychological interview, yeah, but it's fine. Yeah, of course, why not? Why not? We are here, like we have here like 12 aircrafts, so I would say like 9152, 2172, and 2172 glass cockpit. So we are here, instructors, aircrafts, everyone is here. So if you are ready, you can come and you can do the test flight. Why not? In the end of January, beginning of February, up to you. Up to you. You mean Brendan, like 45 hours, like all the PPL training? Yeah, like many things, depends on many things. Depends on the weather. And if you are like in the Czech Republic only for the pilot training, you can have like 2 flights in the day. But you like it's better to have like 1 flight, like take what you learn, try to study, because it's not easy like to learn everything like in 2 weeks. So I would say 1 month. 1 month is possible to finish the PPL in 1 month. Yeah, if everything is good, like the weather, aircraft instructor. Yeah. Do longer test flight. You mean like longer? You mean longer test flight, like I'm not like longer than 45 hours. You mean, or longer than the introduction flight 1 hour? Because I'm not sure. The test flight. So you mean the first flight with the instructor? Yeah, but basically you are the student. Yeah, you are the customer. So if you want to fly like longer than 1 hour, why not? Like, yeah, it's introduction flight. Yeah, so usually introduction flight, we are as an instructor, we are following the syllabus. So in syllabus is written 1 hour. Yeah, because yeah, some of the students they have motion sickness, so we are like flying 1 hour. But like if you will say to instructor, can we fly 1.5 hours? Why not? Yeah, thank you. Thank you, and have a nice day and have a nice. I'm looking forward to see you in Prague. To be honest, the school it's in the city. It's last station of the one line of the metro. So last station and then one station by bus. So it's in the Prague almost. So you can be in 10 minutes, in 15 minutes, you can be in the city center of Prague. Thank you. Bye, well. Thank you again. See you in the Prague. Okay, yeah, let's of course come. Okay, Florian, you can.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something because I just wanted to say that this was a really great experience for me, these classes, and I just wanted to thank you for that. I didn't wanted to write it because it's not that personal, but thanks for the classes. It's what's really, really great. I enjoyed it a lot, and I can't wait to do the practical training. I think the other guys are the same, think the same about it. So thank you very much.
Yeah, you are welcome. And like as I said, I'm looking forward to see you in Prague. Yeah, I'm looking forward to fly with you, and let's gain some practical experience of flying. It will be very exciting, and it will be fun. Even fun it will be. Yeah. So let's see in Prague. Yeah. Have a nice day. Have a nice rest of the week, and I hope you are all good in your countries. Your families are good as well, healthy. So see you guys. It was a pleasure to spend the time with you as well. Thank you, Danila. Bye. Have a great evening as well.